Welcome back to Anime Savants, everyone. This week I am Miurine.
This week I guess I gotta be Sid.
Whoa! Oh yeah, we have so much.
I gotta be Sid.
We have so much to discuss about that Negro. Oh my god. So as we said last week, we are going to start from now on with the question of the week from last week. So the question of the week last week was basically best supporting cast that can like carry the show without the MC. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, but they're just really strong supporting cast where sometimes they have to carry everything, but like they are interesting enough that you're kind of tuning in for them sometimes rather than the main character.
Yes. So we actually got some responses from y'all. And we'll read like I'll read like what, 2 responses, and then we'll give our answers, and then we'll read the rest of them, or we can just do them all at once. But someone from Twitter said they did like modern and classic. So they said modern Kaguya-sama, and then classic irresponsible Captain Tyler.
I'm a big fan of that last one. I think. Tyler is a relatively overlooked series that if most people are familiar with it, might think it was just a sort of like a throwaway comedy sci-fi, but it's true. They had such a varied cast on the ship, and I think like the first episode is what always sticks out to me about how to do wacky comedy with a heart that you don't have to unpack from the very beginning. Tyler is just an incredibly kind character, but when you get on the ship and you just see like all the shenanigans and all the crazy stuff, I think there's like a dolphin in a robot suit or something like that. I'm trying to remember.
A dolphin. Let me look at.
But just like the cast on the ship, I think was awesome.
Yeah.
And so I vibe with that. I remember I watched it on mostly on VHS tape. Renting it from like a local video store, and then they only had like 4 volumes, and I had to go online way back in the day before we had all the nice and safe harbors to go find anime, and so I was watching all the other episodes on like super grainy real video rips of VHS tapes, but it was awesome.
Okay. Then for the second one, I mean, I agree with Kaguya, specifically because I've been watching it like recently within the past year. I'm not caught up no more. I got behind again. But yeah, I can see Kaguya definitely surviving with just like the supporting cast just being really, really, really fucking good the entire time and not really relying on the main cast to like give them any kind of personification or growth. So definitely that. We have someone else who said... Oh, we had someone else who said... Hold on 1 second.
Well, I can talk a little bit about some of my picks.
Yeah. So what are some of your picks?
On the more modern end, or at least modern in the sense that we've gotten more recent adaptations, I think various JoJo series would fall under that category.
Oh, okay.
Of those that have been animated, I think my favorite JoJo is Battle Tendency, and though that's a series that definitely revolves strongly around its main character, I think it has a varied enough supporting cast without veering off into insanity. But the real OG is Ranma One Half.
Whoa!
You got because that's a show that because of its length, you get to explore a lot of the inner lives of most of the main cast to the point where like. The Ranma Akane relationship story often takes a big back burner to either comedy around characters like Genma or Papateldo or Akane's sister, was it Nodoka? But then also all the people chasing Ranma around in his various forms. I think like by the time you get to the second season, it's so much more of an ensemble show, and it really resembles another series that was popular at the time and now has gotten a big remake, which was Lum, because Lum absolutely falls into that category, where obviously it's much more comedy driven and gag driven, but like that, there are a lot of episodes that do not carry forward anything that the MC's doing. It's literally everybody else. So I think Ranma and Lum, and to some degree JoJo, maybe like Steel Ball Run it'd be a better example.
Yeah, along the lines of JoJo, someone said Part 5 was their obvious pick.
Yeah.
Wait, Part 5 is
Stone Ocean, I think.
Stone Ocean?
5, right?
Yeah, Part 5. I thought Part 5 was Italian. 4.
No, it's sorry, it's not. It's
Golden Experience.
It's the one before, it's the one before Stone Ocean, the one in Italy.
Yeah. I forgot its name. It's Golden something, right? Golden Road?
Golden Wind?
Golden Wind, I think. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Golden
6
Wind.
is Stone Ocean, 7 is Steel Ball.
Yeah.
And then 8 is JoJolion.
You know more about those than I do, because you've read those. But in addition to that, they also said, otherwise, the Vinland Saga side characters, just in Vinland Saga's prologue alone, Thorfinn doesn't get the most screen time, I believe.
That is somewhat believable. Yes. I think it's, so once you kind of get past the first 4 episodes, when they're actually on land, like basically the Thorkel fight where they go through the gate, I think after that it does kind of become a lot more about Canute and a lot more about like Askeladd and all that other stuff. And to be fair, the culmination of season 1 is an event that has almost nothing to do with Thorfinn at all, which is like the resolution of kind of Askeladd's story and its impact on Canute because he, forces him to execute him and all that stuff. I know it's spoilers, but we're already on season 2, so it's like, come on.
And I don't even remember those names, so whenever I do get caught up, it'll happen. For mine, particularly, I picked 2. I picked dramas, romances. Of course I did. So I would say oldie, which it's not old, but it's older. A lot of people still haven't watched it. Anohana. Or whatchamacallit, the flower we saw that day. Yeah. So Anohana, and it's kind of, I don't know, you could say like supporting cast, but like there's definitely the main character, and it all centers around the main character's relationship and him regrowing his relationships with the rest of the cast. But they simultaneously develop the shit out of the rest of them where you don't even need him in the picture half the time because you're so invested in figuring out like who were these people when they were like little kids and what have they become now and how did the death affect them. So that one, and then the other one is, hence, at least for me, like as soon as I thought about this, I was like Horimiya. Horimiya for me is the supporting cast. First of all, I mean, the main couple is like phenomenal, but they had so many episodes of Horimiya where like the main couple was in the background the entire time. Like they literally spent like, I would say almost like 3 to 4 episodes on like Sakura's development and like her crush on one of the other supporting guys and then like another guy swooping in. These are all scenes that have nothing to do with like Hori or Miyamura at all. Like these are all like, just like, oh, this is my friend group. This is your friend group. We're over here. And these things are happening. There's just like a microcosm of mess over here while these two are falling in love. And so I immediately thought Horimiya, yes, like supporting cast is one of the most memorable to me personally. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of other romances out there that get way messier. But not Domestic Girlfriend. I haven't watched that one. So I can't recommend anything from that. That's a cheat code. I don't know if we can use that. I would say Cowboy Bebop is another one. Oh yeah.
It's kind of, it's an overdog series because we all know about it, but it does fly under the radar in the sense that there are plenty of episodes where Spike ain't involved. And the formula for Cowboy Bebop in many ways, both because it's episodic and also because the main or the core cast are all so strong that you can do storytelling very easily with that group by basically subtracting any one of them and then letting the rest of them go run off and do something, and it's just as interesting. Even Ed, who's insane, like the Ed episodes I think are actually some of the most interesting ones, so that's sort of low key. Do we have any more from?
We have one more. So, someone on Twitter said they thought Jujutsu Kaisen is a good pick. Yuji doesn't engage with every character. The villains be villaining, and I dare say are moving the story more than our main cast. Shit is a good section of the fights have nothing to do with Yuji too.
That's fair, especially for.
I'm not as far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they're speaking from a manga perspective.
Yes.
So
definitely.
Yeah. What is your opinion on that in particular?
I think that is a very fair estimation. I think we can pull things back a little bit without spoiling anything that's current in the manga to say that in Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji is not a prime mover in the story. What if you were to sit down and say what are the events of that and all the connective stuff for the plot to describe to someone who had never watched the show, it's probably fair that like after the first couple of main the training stuff and the stuff with the other Jujutsu High, like the summer games, you could probably describe activity in the plot without almost ever mentioning Yuji's name. The Shibuya incident, which will be coming up in the next season, is a very multifaceted story because at least in the manga, there's a lot of jumping around between perspectives. And I think Yuji only really plays a major role in one of maybe a dozen story significant interactions, fights, and so on. I would even argue that maybe like Megumi and Jogo are more critical to sort of what's happening in that storyline for the Shibuya incident alone than almost anything Yuji does, maybe right up until the end. And there's also growth for all those characters in one way or another. So like things like that, and especially afterwards with the culling game, which I will not go into any detail about, Yuji's sort of, I won't say he's reduced to a supporting role, but certainly everybody else gets plenty of time to go do their own thing, completely separate from what he's up to during that period. So I would agree with that.
Okay. And that was the last one that we have from you. So yeah, send more in. I mean, we're going to ask the new question at the end of this episode, but yeah, feel free to respond to Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We didn't get any in the mail. I checked the mail just to make sure we didn't get any in the mail. But yeah, no, that was a pretty wide range of opinions, I think, and I don't necessarily disagree with anyone in a fervent manner.
Cool. All right, so let's get to talking about the stuff we watched. And mind you that we're recording this a little bit later in the month, so we have more than a little bit to go over. So I think the big one that's sort of hanging out there is the end of Eminence and Shadow, which wrapped up a little more than a week ago. And man, it doesn't feel right to hit a week where I'm not looking forward to another episode of that show. I
marathoned them for a good chunk of the time, so I missed it a lot. But then once I marathoned it, I was like, damn, this shit's been so fucking good, nonstop, episode after episode. What did you think of the finale? Also, I don't know if you knew this, but apparently the Mist Dragon shit is canon stuff from the gacha game.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I just thought it was a part that was in the light novel.
I did also.
The manga they just cut out.
That's part of the gacha game.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so they are...
Good for them. That's the best integration of cheesy game content into a running show I've heard in a while.
Yes.
Not to say that it got a lot of screen time, but the idea they just threw that shit in there and just said, fuck it, kind of aligns with the whole series. The ethos they got going on.
Make this shit canon.
Yeah, why not? Go for it. Yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the final episode, for the most part, was just one really, really extended fight scene. Starting off from the end of episode 19, when Rose kills her drug-addled father, and then tries to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And then Sid, throws his disguise off, breaks in, kind of saves her life, sort of, or at least, prevents her from getting killed. And then immediately gets, like, attacked from behind by Beatrix, and then it's off to the races. So they start the episode with him facing off with not Rose, the other princess. Who's the other princess?
Oh, Iris.
No, the Orleans girl, the blonde hair.
Yeah, Rose.
Oh, was that I thought Rose was the yeah. No, you're totally right. Sorry, brain not functioning. So anyway, Sid is in a 2v1 out in the city, just going ham, and most of the episode is based around that fight. Various scenes. If you really to put it together, it was Sid kind of toying with Beatrix, almost under the hope that like she could give him a challenge. So I think that was just him playing the character. Yeah, because that's what the Eminence and Shadow would do. I don't think at any point he felt like she was doing anything he cared about, including like the scene where she sort of kind of caught up to his instant flash step shit.
Yeah.
But that again, they don't. Sometimes he'll call out like, "Oh, this is exactly what I would be doing," but there was no fourth wall breaking until like the very end of the episode. The cool thing about that fight are all the little cameos, I think, from the other characters that we had met more recently. Going through and just being around, for that battle, but not noticing what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
Who did we get? We got the blue knight. What was her name?
Anna Rose.
Yeah, Anna Rose. There's a lot of roses. We got her sort of just like I would have thought like a fighter of her caliber would sort of feel that there was like a battle happening all around her, but she was just thinking about Jevida whatever and just like not even paying attention.
When she got turned down, right, to train. Who did she want to train with?
Yeah, she wanted to train with him first, and then she went after Beatrix.
Yeah.
But the fact that like they were actually like banging, and she's just like walking down the street,
not noticing anything,
not noticing what the fuck is going on. The city is getting wrecked in the process. There's that really, really cool, what do you call it? Like scene where they go from the train to like battling in the city, and you just see like the slash marks as they're like fighting through all the buildings, and they do that cool like delayed explosion where it's like, oh shit, they just fucking stuff up. They don't even care. Sid busts out the double crowbars from episode 1, only like slimified, and just counters all the sword activity like he's having a great time. He's cutting the water like the witch was doing to him. Like, and then finally they wind up on
it was so. I just thought that it was just like an entire flex the entire time, especially once Iris stepped in. Right. It was kind of just like, okay, like what the fuck is even the meaning of this? And the meaning of it was literally he was just having fun.
He was like he was almost like experimenting.
Like.
But just
and that was the first time we saw the crowbars in like a long time.
But I love his like reaction when he like pulled the crowbars back out and he's like, "This shit works." I'm like, "Yeah, bro, you just flexing on him right now. It's not even fair."
But also, it's like his stuff is like super condensed magic, so it's like, nigga, of course.
Yeah.
But I thought the mithril sword was maybe gonna make him be like, "Ooh, maybe."
I know what you mean. I had a half a thought, and I'm like, nah, that's not what the show's about. They're not about like scaling anything. No, you know what I mean? Like.
But I also really liked how he was like, "Oh, you're a weak ass bitch because you can't beat me by yourself.
He said
you have to go get a cheat code.
Defeat me with borrowed strength." I'm like, bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Why you gotta do it to him?
Yeah.
Until they eventually get to the clock tower, which is a very like what a tropey place to have your final confrontation. Iris at this point is just completely lost it. Realizes that
so
they don't have the goods to beat this guy, so they do the whole like, I'll pin him down and then I'll trade my life so you can kill him. And I'm like, girl, you're talking real big for someone who hasn't gotten a hit in yet. Like,
can't
chill
do
the fuck
anything. Oh my god!
And he like one hand disarms her in midair and then knees her in the face.
Oh
Brutal. Beatrix steps up, tries to get her like final slash. He just dodges that shit, and then suplexes her. And they're on the ground, and he stops them out. He stops them. Puts the boots to them.
Amazing.
That shit was crazy.
It was
then he sort of pretends like he's gonna blow up the city and then doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Because he's just having a good time.
Yeah, the whole ending of that fight was so disrespectful. It was so disrespectful. I don't think I've seen niggas stomp anyone out in a minute.
It was just rude.
It was very rude. But also it is him. So like, I'm not surprised about anything that this nigga does. In the moment I am, but then looking back on it, I'm like, this is well within his faculties. Because he does not care. And I think someone else told me, they were like, oh, he did mention that he doesn't care about killing millions of people before. Like, he said that, like, early on in the series. So he could have let that atomic rip, but he was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm just fucking with you. And also the fact that Beatrice was just like, yeah, no, he let us go. He didn't get away. He let us go. Right. And that Iris, the thing that pissed me off the most about Iris is that they kept building her up to be like, oh, I'm for the people, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, like everything I do is for my kingdom, things like that, when the only thing she really cares about is her pride. Like, that's all she fucking cares about. And you can even tell during the battle, or that was my takeaway from the battle, how they were going through the city fucking shit up, and she was the main person, like, destroying a whole bunch of shit. And I'm like, you talking about your people, you care about your people, their livelihood, their safety, da-da-da-da. You're wrecking their shit over, like, trying to get at this nigga and trying to prove something to yourself. And then, I don't hate to say it, but like when she was broken at the train station saying bye to Beatrice, it was kind of just like, yeah, like your sister already moved past that shit, but she doesn't know that. But it's about like accepting your powerlessness and like, then what are you going to do next? Which in turn has something to do with Blue Lock and Borrow.
Oh my goodness. Until defeat. Yeah, we'll talk about that. About that.
So it's kind of just like, yeah, what defines you is what you do after defeat. What do you do? So at that moment, and I hadn't watched that Blue Lock episode yet. So, and that I was just like, yeah, girl, like you lost, like, but there's always going to be someone better. So what now? What are you going to do?
It's so interesting because I think, folks, sometimes you see something that's really cool and you want to try too hard to like put it in a box and explain like, oh, this series was saying this and it did this with characters like, this Eminence and Shadow is one of those things where it's rule of cool turned up to 100. And as a result, like, it's the ride that it puts you on. You're not really supposed to try to, like, break it down or anything else. Like, a lot of the characters they're one note on purpose. Though, more than a few have a couple dimensions. I think Iris is one of them who, by the end of the series, gets a little more depth. Because you're right. You kind of know, she's always been prideful even from the very beginning, but we find out during the tournament arc that a lot of that pride is really more desperation, right? Because when she does actually try to go and do things to sort of protect her, country or try to deal with the real threats.
And shit.
Oh yeah, and over she is prevented and forced to be a bystander, either by circumstance, by the fact that she is powerless relative to like other people who are in there, or politically. Also powerless. And so the fact that they managed by the end to show a contrast between her sister and her.
Yeah.
That is something that you probably are gonna miss if you're kind of caught up in the ride. But it's not like it's a particularly deep point. No. The end of the day, Iris just couldn't accept the fact that she couldn't win through strength. She was the loser, and she was weak. And that's it.
And that was the one thing she was holding on to. Right.
Or that she was maybe hoping that whatever strength she did have was enough to solve the problems that were in front of her. And over she was reminded that, nah, bro. From the moment when the when Shadow Garden stepped in, in the city to deal with that rampaging monster. Where again, that literally, I think Alpha tells her to stand on the sidelines and watch, right? And I think that hurt her pride in the beginning, and then that was the theme with her over the course of the rest of this season. When the terrorists attack and she's outside the barrier and can't get in, can't do anything. This fight was kind of trying to get that out of her.
That like subset of nights only for all them niggas to get killed.
Right. Or get clapped up. Like, that's the thing. So I like that they gave us that. For Rose, there was the B plot of the episode was her escaping the destruction of the city, and getting officially recruited by Shadow Garden, which is paid off in the closing credit scene where they, as Jordan alluded to, we finally get to see the actual Shadow Garden, which is in the mountains near Sid's old, or his family's territory, but nearby. And I was expecting that it was like an actual whole ass city with a giant statue to this motherfucker.
No.
But the moment I saw it, I was like, of course, yeah, that's exactly what it would be. And she has everything. They're gonna break her down to build her back up. So they literally, slashed off all of her clothes for fan service.
Cut that hair.
Cut the hair. Cut up the burger wrapper that she had placed her hopes and dreams into. And then we got also introduced to, was it 656 or 6 whatever?
Yeah, 6, 6, 5, I love those two new girls. They were funny.
They look like fun comic relief.
Yes. Like when Homegirl was like walking into the screen and Homegirl was like, "Get your ass
out of here! What are you doing?" So that'll be fun. I've been somewhat spoiled to the fact that what those three characters wind up doing, which I think is good. Like I'm looking forward to it. Okay. So I thought it was good to get them into this episode, because when it was going off, I was like, oh, okay, we'll get all the Rose Shadow Garden stuff like in season 2. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect that last scene would sort of take us, to see a little bit behind the curtain early. But I think it's good news. I'm pretty sure has there been a season 2 announcement?
Yeah, I think there was like a
teaser. There was like a 30-second teaser.
They said it's in production right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if it's in production now, I would imagine it actually started production months ago, which means that it is not unlikely that we could get a season 2 by next year. When next year, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure when next year. It might be like winter next year.
I mean, I'm willing to wait because they don't really need, just because it's not like super high budget like Sakuga Fest and shit like that. Even though it's not the highest quality show, but yeah, I'm willing to wait. Like, I don't need it immediately, especially because it gives like the light novel and the manga more time to like, keep going and shit like that. So it was really good. And I would like another like 2 core season. I don't want it to come back only for like 1 core and be like, all right, that's it. Like, we out of here. So
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they went to 12 episodes and just do a 1 core. I would not be shocked.
Really? Okay.
Not that I want it. It's just,
Yeah. Depends on what slot they get.
And they put up some teaser visuals for the season, and it looks like it's going to be Lawless City, which involves...
Oh, they hinted at that, right?
So it's going to be like vampires and criminals and all kinds of shit. Looks pretty cool. More girls to collect. The harem must grow. You know how it goes.
Infinitely. Yeah.
So yeah,
overall, that was good. I enjoyed it.
I would give this series very high marks, despite the fact that it's completely stupid. This is a dumb show for dumb people, but I am a dumb person.
Yes.
So I very much enjoy it. It is not high art. It's nice to
have something to not take serious. Just basically just like watch it.
I'm with it all the way. I think the only thing I wish is that this season, there have been a lot of good shows. I'll put Vinland Saga up there as like, art. There's actual art happening over there. This is trash, but it's such fantastic trash that I think its loss takes away my balance week to week. Of like, okay, I get my youthful wish fulfillment out of Eminence doing stupid shit, and then I could go turn my brain back on for, Vinland Saga or Beasts or Kaina, those types of story-driven, interesting types of shows. So I miss it. I miss it deeply right now. I'm trying to find something else to fill the void, but it's hard. So yeah, I really like this season, and I hope that we get more of a picture of whether we'll see it in 2024.
Yeah, I think 2024, late 2024, mid. I think that's reasonable.
If they're in production now, I paid attention.
I don't think they said they started production.
No, they said that it had entered production.
Okay, so yeah, I don't think that's a bad timetable. I think that's doable, or I believe it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Depending, as long as there aren't any other worldwide curveballs or Japanese curveballs.
I mean, who knows?
So Kaina, what are your thoughts on what's going on in Kaina?
So there was a line in episode, is it 7? Is the latest one?
I think so. Yes. Yeah,
so this is we'll go back a little bit, but this is when they're on Valga, the fortress ship, where Kaina and crew had kind of just gotten on board the ship, and they're looking around, and they see, it's I think Liliha says it. She says the ship was so impressive on the outside, but on the inside it looks kind of normal. And that was
the princess.
Yeah, and I liked that observation because later in that episode we get a little bit of an explanation of what happened. Yes. Which is that it originally was a refugee ship, and that they'd gone around and picked up people who were in communities where the trees had dried out, but they got so big there was a population explosion, and then it kind of forced them to become predatory. And you kind of get the society that we see today, which is the people are so rationed that they actually support going out and hunting down and destroying other places and taking their water because they need water desperately, otherwise they're going to die.
Yeah.
And I liked that a lot because even though we did get some direct character development with some of the new people we met on the ship, and what's the name of the red-haired woman?
Oh, it's something wrong. Anthelone or something?
But there's a lot. We actually get a lot with her towards the end of the episode when she faces off with Liliha. But the world building that went down in in episode 7 really gelled together, and gave us a direction. It's the one thing I was kind of looking for this season or this series. I don't know if it's how many core they're expecting it to be. It could just be this, but that there's now a very clear direction. There is a giant tree that kind of knows that he saw when he was,
yeah,
right, and that theoretically that it was still alive, which means that there's water there, and that water could solve at least this current conflict. So he's got to get there. They got to figure out how to get there, or something about that tree. I'm very pleased with that because now, the thing we were kind of leading up to was Valga attacking Atland. And one side or the other was gonna win. That was just what it was. But I didn't really see a direction to answering any of the questions from the first couple episodes that were teased, and now we kind of have it. So I really enjoyed the last 2 to 3 episodes. What we can go back, but what did you think about
I really enjoyed when they got to Valga, and we started getting way more world building, especially with the world tree. And I wasn't expecting the crew. Well, let's not say the crew, but I do like the support cast, the residents, the the little group of thieves that are all banded together, and also the Princess Amarat. I think
Amarat,
that,
there you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's not the actual princess. She's from, because I think we got that flashback where they did that shit to her brother.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming, and I think the guy, didn't they say come fight for us, forsake Atland and come fight for us, give up everything that you were and
yes.
become. So that's what she did, is what I'm assuming. So now I'm like, oh girl, so you are definitely gonna have all these feelings when you see Lilia and Kaina fight so hard to just not give up, as opposed to like being defeated and like giving
like
into,
what you did.
Yeah. And so she's definitely gonna feel a way about that. But then the question is, what is gonna be her response? Is she gonna help, or is she just gonna? I think
eventually she's gonna help, because they kind of tease on multiple occasions that like she's not down for almost any of the tactics of like what's going on.
Well, yeah, the general is like crazed, like that nigga. Just he enjoys it.
But I don't think she's gonna abandon, Valga. If anything, I think the culmination of her arc has to sort of be rescuing Valga.
Yeah.
Because I think the people who are on there are from all sorts of places. So I'm sure she has her own people who are there as well, who
remember who she was before she became
exactly
the kitty. Also, now that I notice it, that armor looks more cute every time I see it with the kitty.
Isn't it? Like,
I'm like, who did this design?
I'm not upset about it. It's just kind of hard to take it like super serious.
Yeah, but then she gets out with that sword and just
then you're like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Like niggas getting sliced. But I liked how they the pacing also was like really good. I was starting to get a little bit like, what are you all gonna do as far as saving her? But then they put her out in the ship. We had the whole ship espionage thing, and then they finally made it to Valga. I liked the introduction of like the thieving kids and them breaking down like the state of Valga, what's going on, and also how they all met. And to the point where I thought like Lilia legit was just gonna go and be like, I'm gonna wing this shit. I'm just gonna go save the little girl. But in the end, she had a plan. They made it work with Kaina, et cetera, et cetera. And now I'm looking forward to, okay, you guys have to get off Valga and go find the tree. And how are you gonna do this? Are you going to commandeer one of their ships? Because no one's ever been there, or they don't know how to get there. Right. Does Kaina still have like a sense of where he is at in the world? And so can he even think, or like, can he use some kind of thing as like landmarks to know, oh, the tree's in that direction, et cetera, et cetera? Or could it be the roots again, basically being like all the roots seem to be going in a certain way or something below the sea and things like that? Who knows? But I'm looking forward to the new goal as opposed to this. And so then I think it's going to be a rush against time between how long is it going to be before Valga attacks Atlan, and can we find the tree and get back and let everybody know?
Or diverting them somehow, because it seemed like Valgo's close enough that they could attack Atlan within days. Or at least that their ship could get out there.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally clear.
Did you also, what was the thing they said that they were afraid of? The thing that was fucking the ship up?
Yeah. What,
and can they summon
remember that it goes back to that story that was told like 3 episodes ago about how there's some kind of like creature.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's their version of that story, but it's real. So something is real about that.
Yeah, which of course we're gonna run into that eventually. But yeah, overall, I definitely I'm just looking forward to it. I mean, it sucks it's only 11 episodes, but hey,
okay.
I'm not really even. Well, I do notice it as far as like the CG goes. I'm pretty pleased. Like, there's really nothing in it that's like super jarring or like weird. I would say like maybe at times it looks a little like kind of like stunted and janky, but it's not the majority of the fucking episode. And also it's
not
really,
at all.
Really gorgeous, I mean, like overall.
There are times when the CG like really stands out, and usually it's in the moving, like a crowd scene where the camera has to move around, because they will hand draw a lot of stuff. I feel like they've been doing more hand drawing in this episode, specifically because there's a lot of like close quarters scenes with the various like the thieves and like other stuff, and there's not a lot happening in the background, so they kind of could invest there. But it does stand out when they like do the moving crowd shots, and you're like, oh, okay, they're using more CGI here. But the world is interesting to look at. like because they put a lot of details about the society on the ship into those like the details in the background, or like what people are doing, or just little stuff. So I like it. It's not the prettiest show, but it has its moments where like you can look forward to something that will look good.
Yes.
Depending on what's going. Specifically when they go outside, or like when they go under the sea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really interesting, really beautiful, and a lot of that is CG.
Okay. That's all.
Artemis is talking.
Yeah, Artemis wants to get in on it.
You have a lot to say today. Okay, so yeah, definitely like that. So what episode did you start with for your catch up, or were you always caught up?
For which one?
For Kaina.
For Kaina. Oh, I'm caught up. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm always caught up on Kaina. The last episode ended with them being found out at the hideout. Right?
We're talking about Beasts of Ours.
Okay, yeah, I'm behind on that one, but you can go for it.
Okay, well, are you episode 7?
No, I stopped at the episode where they ran from Homeboy.
Okay, we can come back to that because in episode 7 and 8, there's been a massive amount of like world building and information dumps and going back in time. We've learned everything about the backstory of Kumi. That crazy scientist dude. A lot of things are happening, so let's revisit that.
Okay,
because it's cool. It's actually good. It's like good shit, like really, really, really good, interesting shit. I will say there's a scene in episode 8 where a Kubi clone gets baked in an oven, and I think that might be troubling for some people.
Oh shit! Okay. Oh wow.
So we can move on from that one. What else? What have you watched?
I caught up on Blue Lock. Oh wait, you're not caught up on Blue Lock. Oh,
I've seen up to episode 19, so the only one I haven't seen is the latest one.
Oh, okay. So then we can talk about up to 19. So Bakita's basically backstory is what you saw.
Yes.
Yeah. But me coming from where the last episode I saw was when Bakita left. So that was episode 13. So I had 14, 15, 16, 17,
you had
18,
a lot.
19. Yeah. I watched 7 episodes to get caught the fuck up. But I'm caught up, but I won't say anything about episode 20. But yeah, I mean, I just have to say, I feel like maybe this one is similar to like Eminence and Shadow, where it's predictable in some sense, but it doesn't fucking matter because I'm still just taken along from the ride. Like, I still am just so hyped for it. And I did not expect the Baro stuff to just be so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. When that nigga started calling him Donkey, I was like, oh my God.
He said, I was like, you are outrageous.
He turned that shit on him. And I knew it. Like, I literally was just waiting for the moment where he was just like, oh, I have to. And I was like, he's not going to just go along with this shit. No. It goes against everything that his character has been set up to be. And then at the last fucking second, he's just like, actually, I'm just going to be the villain. Like, fuck it. And just turns the fuck out. And I like how he doesn't have fire. He has like black electricity.
Yeah.
That shit is so cool. I'm sorry. Like when he was doing like the zigzag out. It was so fucking
The one thing I'll say is like I will partially take back a comment that I made from much earlier in the season, which was the idea that like comparing this to Kuroko no Basuke, like when they're in the zone.
Yeah.
Like that concept, I had said back then that it felt like they weren't playing that part up to be as magical as it kind of is in that other series. But I think in this arc, it has become that.
Yes.
Because when Baro is like in his fuck you mode, even when he kind of gets sunned, right? Like, and Isagi starts going ham, it's definitely the zone.
Okay.
It is 100% the zone. So that's all. I'll just take that part back.
But I thoroughly enjoyed the catch up. Like so fucking much. I'm glad I actually had the episodes to watch like back to back to back, because those cliffhangers were fucking disgusting that they did on the majority of them. I also really like, so I skip like the end like little skit things or whatever. But I really like the dynamic in the dormitory between Baro and Nagi. And like I'm just like, yo, all this does is just add to the flavor. Like, it's just making this shit better. And then they added Chigiri on top of that shit. And it's just like, yo, prick sis. As in, like, a prick princess. And all. So, with that match, in and of itself, I was just like, this is so fucking good. This is just so fucking good. And I knew the other two were not good enough to go along. I was like, it has to be Chigiri, because Isagi said it himself. He was like, I picked you because you have something that I can't replicate. If you have something I can replicate, what the like, or if we already have it, what do I need you for? And they don't need Reo because Isagi's technically Reo, and they don't need Kumigami because that's what Baro is. So it's kind of just like, you don't need them niggas. Like, it's not about friendship. It's about moving on. And then the cherry on top, where Reo started like going off on Nagi, and Nagi was like, you know what? Fuck you, nigga. I don't need you. I'm done with you. Literally said, I'm done with you.
Damn. I mean, it is what it is, though.
And then and he couldn't take his own medicine. Couldn't take it. Could dish it, but can deal it, but can't take it. Like, okay. Like, wow. Because I thought that conversation was going to go in a different direction, because Nagi was like, why would you want to join back up? Because, like, neither of us were, like, we're still kind of similar, the same. Like, don't you want to link back up when we're both, like, on a different fucking level? And he was like, basically, what I see it as is that Reo thinks he owns Nagi.
Yeah.
And Nagi just doesn't even see that shit. He's just like, nigga, I'm having fun. Like, this is a goal. I'm pushing towards it. This is fun. This is interesting. This is engaging. And Reo is just like, I own you. You're supposed to do this with me and not anyone else.
And by the way, Nagi didn't know what football soccer was.
No.
Like, he didn't know, nor did he really care. So that whole concept of him finding a goal is actually new. Like, Reo's issue is that he wanted to set the terms of what, you know, Nagi's interaction with the sport was going to be, because he was just kind of like a guy who's like, I just do what my body tells me to do. But now he actually has like a focus and a goal on a new team. Not working for him.
You holding me back, nigga. Bye. But the good thing is they can still catch up, because it's just, they're two now. So they can do the same thing that Isagi did, etc., etc. But overall, yeah, just a shit ton of fun, hype. I love the effects. I don't care if it's not real, if you can't like burst into flames and run down the soccer field and like, you know, catch that shit in midair and then like do like, I don't care. It's still so fucking enjoyable to watch. It's so good. Also, I really love the close-ups on the faces. They've been doing a lot of the face shit, but especially with Baro, I'm just like, they love showing that nigga like popping veins like non-stop. But they do it in such like great detail. I'm just like, they really want to showcase that this nigga is mad.
Right. Ironically, it's kind of a way to save money. Right? Because you gotta think about it, right? Like when I was watching, I think episode 18, and I was noticing that they were doing a lot of the cutaways in the earlier part of the season, when obviously they were teaching the audience a little more about what soccer was, what the rules were, what the positions were, what the plans were that the players were, you know, coming up with. Yeah. They would spend a lot more when they would cut away to like the CGI of like the soccer field and where people were going and like try to diagram it that way. What you'll notice now is that because they're putting their effects into like really short like scenes where like guys will go do some crazy ass shit, you get a lot more of the still shot of like a head, close up, super close up, very little actually being animated.
Oh, just like a head and them talking.
Exactly. Like, they do a lot more of that. To the point where, like, there in episode 18, I think there was like 4 minutes where there were a lot of rapid cuts, but they were like rapid cuts of what were effectively still images. And that's clearly a time saver.
Okay.
You know, a work saver, a money saver. So.
Oh, but I do love Isagi's like puzzle effect. That shit gets cooler and cooler the deeper they go.
Yeah, that is cool.
I really like that. And I like what they're doing with like the evolution of his ability, where it's like, it's adaptability, and it's like, it's not adaptability, it's devouring, and then it's not devouring. It's just like, nigga, you're multifaceted, like, whatever, like, whatever, but build the puzzle. But I like how they show, or they emphasize, like, throughout the match, that it's like, okay, what you were doing is not working, and then you could see the puzzles, like, breaking apart, and then all of a sudden, as he puts it back together, his body starts coming back together, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna try this, we're gonna do this, da-da-da-da-da, etc., etc. And you can slowly see that coming through with other people too. But yeah, like, still good. I mean, I was way behind, but I'm not behind no more. Shit's fucking great.
Yeah, fucking great. It's really good. And I'm when I say that, like, something is a money saver, and I'm just noticing where they're like cutting corners, I'm just saying that as a production, observation. The actual, like, hype level of the series has gotten pushed way up, especially now that you realize that, like, this isn't about, like, your favorites making it to the end. Because we already ditched half of the cast. We got them the fuck out of here.
Gone.
And I really like that, like, the enemies in the other teams that we met in the earlier part of the season really did come back, many of which are going to be the main cast going forward. So, it's cool shit.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk about, like, just the moment with Baro where Isagi mentally dominated this man?
Oh, where he's like, pass it, bitch?
Yes, he didn't even say nothing. He just gave him the energy and completely dominated him. That shit was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. He passed it before without even thinking about it. Just like the natural, I'm not the king anymore. This is your field. But I like that dynamic, and I also like what Isagi's going forward with, where he's like, if we take Rio, we're going to be a more balanced team and all kinds of shit. He's like, none of this shit is balanced to begin with. If anything, that's going to make it harder to work with because we're kind of going to be like confined to something. So go with the outlandish shit, go with Shigiri, and then, episode 20, you'll see when you get to that, when the match starts.
Right. No, 100%. I also think that, like, as you look at the matchups between some of the individual talent that are on the same team, the fact that Baro's first reaction was to get owned, which was good, but then his second reaction was fuck this. Like, that's if you accept that, then you're accepting, like, the position of a permanent loser. Fuck that. I'm taking it to the next level. Let's go, motherfucker. I was like, yes, that's good. I didn't like this character as much before. I thought he was a shit after that. I'm like, I want to see more of him. I want him to do more stuff. Yeah. So.
And also he had, like, emotional growth when they were, like, in the cafeteria chatting, and he was like, yeah. And, well, he said it on the field too. He was like, I'm my biggest enemy. Like, I know I am. Like, I'm preventing myself from, like, winning and this, helping y'all win right now. But I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to change. So he was forced to fucking change or deal with it. And then he talked about it with Isagi. He was like, yeah, like, if you hadn't done that shit, I still wouldn't, I'd still be a fucking, like, OCD fucking crazed person, which I do think that they are, like, I like how they highlighted Baro. He has OCD. I'm pretty sure he has OCD. Because, like, they hinted at it with, like, the folding of the clothes and, like, keeping the room clean, shit like that.
Yes, that's right.
And then they went to the training thing, and he does, like, a 1.5 hour, 2 hour fucking training thing every fucking day before he even starts training, like, before he even touches the fucking soccer ball. And I'm like, bruh, that's why he is what he is. Cause he literally is just like hardcore, I'm doing this shit to get better, and that's it. But also, I think it's just more of like a very potent manifestation of, like, his OCD. But also, I was thinking at the same time, I was like, he's gonna be a great husband. Like, he's gonna be nice to cohabitate with.
Yep, I agree. And Isagi turning into like the copy ninja is great.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Fine. Yeah, because the whatchamacallit, the wide view shit, it wasn't gonna last much longer, especially when they started bringing like eyesight into it, and it was like, yeah, you don't have eyes in the back of your head, and also you don't know the team that you're with anymore. Like, you guys don't have that much of a wide range, etc., etc. There's not as much time as far as like dribbling and dodging like multiple people, etc., like that. So yeah,
with maybe one or two exceptions, they still managed to keep the feats that these people are doing within the realm of physics. I mean, it's like presenting it in a more over the top kind of way. Like, yeah, you probably tear your MCL if you like were running it, 18 miles an hour and then came to a complete dead stop and then twisted on your ankle. Yeah, yes. that would destroy your leg. Yes. But like, there's never like a frame of reference given where you're like, okay, this person has gone beyond superhuman ability. Instead, they stop the game all the time, to get the inner monologues off. But if you play back what actually happened on the play, it was nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, he passed the ball, or oh, he like jumped ahead, or he thought, he read the play quick. They've still managed to keep it there.
Yeah,
so, that's cool.
So yeah, that's the other thing that I watched this week. What else were we watching? Oh, you said you watched Mononogatari. What's going on with that one?
It's really better. It's one of the better emotional wavelength vibe type of shows that you could probably watch. That's not a straight up romance, because the last time we talked, the revelation, I think it was episode 5, was that all of the the people who are living at the house
they're like wedding gifts, something.
Yeah, they're actually wedding gifts, and so then that framed everything that they were doing, how suspicious they are of people, how they like test anyone who comes into the house. Like, oh, it's because they were actually vetting a husband for Botan the whole time. Which, that led to some comedy, and it's like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. But in order to like make that concept a little more earned, the next 3 episodes have really focused on, well, just WTF has Botan been going through her life. And so we learned that she has extreme sensitivity to the other side, whatever you want to call that. Which meant that even when she was like a tiny child,
she could see or sense spirits or some shit.
So basically in their world, like most people have some innate like magical ability, or I don't know what their they call it, but like you can if you feel something a little weird, like you have that like sixth sense, like somebody's watching me, like that's actually you noticing spirits who are around. But unless it's really well expressed, it's difficult for any regular person to focus on them unless they fully manifest into the world through like a medium or an object. Botan's character is like some crazy outlier where she's so sensitive that she can detect spirits at all times if they pay any attention to her at all. So imagine like you were born and then you've got literally, they can all sense you because you're like this big flame, and you can sense all of them. So it's like you have thousands of whispers, thousands of voices, the feeling of thousands of eyes on you at all time. And
wow.
So that like is some shit that could drive you insane. And she just deals with it. Like, it's not like there's some like special thing that's like blocking or protecting her.
She just learned to live with it.
She just lives with it every day. And
wow.
The rule that they talked about early on, where all the spirits in the city are warned not to, not to fuck with her. It's not because if they did it, she would do something to them, or that she has this like special power to destroy them all, or anything like that. It's actually that every spirit wants to, because a spirit can possess a person. We find that out, I think, in episode 7 or 8. And the reason why Botan is so sensitive is that one of her parents was possessed by a spirit. So that's why she's kind of like a half spirit in a sense.
Oh, okay.
But if you, much like possessing a thing, and you take on the characteristics of the thing, of the physical object you possess, and all of it's like, if it has like lived memory, then you kind of get more powerful as a spirit possessing it. If some spirit were to possess her, they could get very close to being like a god. And so it's sort of a stalemate where all the spirits of the city know that if any one of them made a move on her, it would just cause like an all-out war. So they all leave her alone. But what's happening now is that something has disrupted that balance, and niggas been coming after her since episode like 5 or 6. So so there's that part. So I think like that development goes hand in hand with the marriage thing, because now you have like a very strong, morally upright protagonist who wants to help people but is distrustful of like spirits, and you know, wants to destroy them all, and has all this trauma from his earlier life about spirits. He's now living with a bunch of spirits that are doing everything that he kind of always thought of himself, being emblematic of like protecting other people. So he's had to change his perspective, or trying to change his perspective. Then he's got this girl who he has nothing to do with, but he's now in a sort of kind of arranged marriage, because you find out that like the families were talking to each other behind the scenes to like set this up. He has to get to know her as a person, even though he is not interested in the arranged marriage. And then for Botan's part, she never really had any friends, because any people that would be around her would eventually either notice that she's acting like super weird because she's hearing spirits all the time.
Voices too.
Right, or they might themselves be put in danger, and so when she was a little girl, she didn't, had a really hard time making friends. Now, that's normally where most of the characterization of this type of story and this type of character ends. The difference with this one, and why I actually like watching it week to week, is because these are not children. So these are like, Botan is in college, okay? So she actually does have actual friends. Like, she went through that when she was a kid, and then now as an adult, she's learned how to be a regular person. Which means that that her character is not this, like, wallflower, or, a damsel in distress, or someone with no agency. She pretty much she's more developed as a person than even the main character is. So she's much more independent-minded, but still, a young woman, and still very inexperienced when it comes to especially boys and feelings. Yeah. So you kind of get the blushy, whatever, and the misunderstandings and all that kind of stuff that go into a nice rom-com side. But whenever that starts to wear itself out, it can shift over into just being a straight-up kind of shonen, if it needs to be. With all of the various powers and, battles and the subplot. So there's enough going on at the 3 layers of interpersonal dynamics inside the house, Botan and the spirits, stuff happening behind the scenes with the spirits outside who are plotting something, some subplots with all the main characters around their traumas or the bad things that happened in their early life, and then the mystery around kind of what is really happening in the world. You put all that shit together, and it's just a easy watch overall.
Okay.
So, and I actually like Hyoma. I think it's rare that you get a more adult shonen main character whose principal trait is that he's very pessimistic, right? Normally shonen protagonists are the opposite. They're super optimistic.
Toxic positivity to a point.
Right. And what was the name of in Full Metal Panic? What was the name of the was it not Setsuna? What was the main character? Yeah, is it Setsuna FCA? Is that
yeah. Setsuna. Wait, Setsuna sounds.
No, that sounds like
Gundam.
Gundam. What was his name?
Yeah, that's 00 Gundam, right?
That's 00. What was his name? Whatever. That character is very similar to Hyoma's character in the sense that he is a high school student, but the joke is.
Oh wait, no, that's not.
I don't remember. But the joke is that he was basically a special operations soldier. So he has all of the mannerisms of like an adult man.
And he goes to high school and he learns how to interact with people and stuff.
Exactly. Like that. But like he's very, in the beginning, super paranoid, a pessimist, a person who over-prepares, and he reacts to things like a awkward older man rather than a high school student who doesn't really know anything. Yeah. And I think Hyoma is a version of that character, but without a lot of the absurdities to make him, like, he's already a superhuman in the context of the world that they live in, but it's a result of the other rules of the world and the family he grew up in. And his pessimism is sort of outward facing, because there's that moment in episode 5 where like he finally finds out that like he's in an arranged marriage from his grandfather, and when he's in front of everybody else, he's just very like stoic and like, I have to think about this, and I was a little surprised, but just give me a little bit of time. And then they cut to him outside the room or outside the house right after the event, and he closes the door, and then he kind of looks at the camera and he's like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? Like he's like, flustered and doesn't know how to deal with it, but he was like putting up a front. So there's levels and layers to these characters that are good for growth and showing on through the story, but also they're just cute. And I think they are a good pair of like, if you want to do like the protectee dynamic to tell a little love story, it works just fine. So I've just been enjoying following the series. It's not too heavy, but it does go far enough with some of its concepts to be entertaining and exciting no matter where you're coming at it from.
Okay. I watched a few episodes of Record of Ragnarok.
Which season?
First season.
Okay.
I had not finished that. I was just looking for something to watch, so I watched the first few episodes. It's not something I would rave about. I feel like it's something that I would finish eventually, but I'm not like dying to get back to it. But it does catch my interest, especially the Valkyrie. I got to the revelation about like the Valkyrie sisters being the weapons, and that's what is allowing them to fight, basically. So, yeah, there's that. They did Thor's background and how he's bored, Lubu, things like that. I'm still in the very first fight, clearly. Okay. But I do like how Brunhilde, like how she has like the menacing smile and shit like that when looking over at Zeus and shit. Like, yeah, so it's interesting. I'm not pressed to finish it, but I will finish it eventually.
I think folks were mad because of the production.
Were they expecting like a Sakuga fest?
Yes, and the reason is that if you read the manga, what Record of Ragnarok is really known for are these really big panels with tons and tons of detail. So you'll have like, when Jack the Ripper, comes out to do a fight, and they're showing like this just gorgeous vertical of like the street where he was doing the murders on, that's been transported into the arena, and it's got all this heavy detail. Yeah, beautiful to look at. So the expectation was that they were gonna bring more of that than just the sort of flatter, more subdued, simpler animated stuff that we got. It felt like this was an opportunity. It's very
straightforward.
To have like a gorgeous show that's like dripping and over the top with all these like weirdly proportioned, stretched out, elongated bodies and muscles and
almost like JoJo-esque, you'd say.
Yeah,
you would think it would be JoJo-esque.
In places, yes. And instead they got a middle of the road production with a lot of still shots and not much animation and other things that people kind of picked on that felt like it simplified what could have been something that was very gorgeous.
Designs.
Yeah, everything else is fine.
Designs. I like the character designs. I like the little drip feeding of how they were able to stand up to them, and this god is this and this god is this and this god has a relationship with this god, things like that. But I'm still very early, but I can see why people were disappointed, but especially with you breaking that down right now. But at the same time, I'm kind of just like, this isn't like boo-boo. Like, why were they so mad about it? But yeah, okay, that makes sense. I just saw it as something. I was like, I want to eat and watch something, but not have to like fully be like, fuck, I gotta pay attention. Like, sit down, like read everything. It's kind of just like, yeah, let me see what this shit's about. So, you know, I'll do the same throughout the remainder of my meals and however long it takes me to finish it.
Right. So I think that overall, that series just wasn't what the fans of that series were looking for. And because it wasn't a very well... I mean, it was known as a manga. It did have it was pretty popular and there was some buzz around it. I just think that, you know, the expectations wound up not matching what was coming out. So it kind of got aggressively shat on when it probably only needed to be like minorly shat on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's still good. So it was good enough to get a season 2 greenlit through Netflix that was canceling everything left and right. So that should tell you something right there.
Yeah, somebody's watching it out there somewhere. So that's all that matters. What else?
I think like you, I picked up Bungo Stray Dogs again. I get to episode 4 every time, and then I wind up not watching anymore.
So is that the episode where like the detective? It's the detective guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
But once you get past that, like once the mafia gets into it more and shit like that, it's way more shonen.
Yes, I know this. Everyone has told me this. I believe them 100%, and I promise you, I've now gotten to that episode again and finished it. I will watch episode 5. I swear to God.
And like, it gets better and better, like season 2, the movie and shit like that. I haven't finished watching. Actually,
let me. Now that I'm looking at this show with eyes unclouded by hate, I could tell you exactly why I always stop right there, and it's not for like negative reasons. It's that at the end of that episode, the series feels very episodic up to that point, and in that episode, there's not at the end much of a hook to then watch the next episode, because it kind of wraps up that investigation and learning about that character and their quirks in the office and like everything else. So then I'm like, okay, I can come back to this whenever, and then I never do, because it's like, why was I watching this again? I just forget. So I'm doing my homework. I'm going to watch the next episode, and I presume it will kick into a particular fight that I've seen clips from multiple times. So I'm just ready for that. But I did it again, so we'll see if I can follow through this time.
Okay. No pressure. I mean, is it season 5?
Whatever it is, I'm like, I feel like I missed out on this.
It's gonna be over soon, anyways. But
yeah, I feel like I've really missed it out. So I wanna.
I've seen people talking about it. Unlike Danmachi, I haven't really seen much movement about Danmachi, but I'm still gonna eventually come and finish that too.
Yeah, I'm just same. I kind of skipped a large part of it and then said I don't give a fuck anymore.
Well, yeah, but they're in the dungeon now, and so like the stuff that made the first season good is back like tenfold. So, but it's just that I just fell off of it one day because I had like.
Well, you told me the stakes was high.
Oh yeah. No, the stakes are high, but I feel like where it's at right now, I might as well just wait for the season to end and then just marathon it, as opposed to just working to catch up.
Yeah.
With so much other stuff to watch.
I also rewatched Hathaway's Flash movie, but with English dub, because I originally watched it with the Japanese, original Japanese language. I love the English dub. I think it's really good. Like, really, really, really good. And Hathaway's Flash is just a...
When is the second movie supposed to be coming?
I don't know. I saw something where they're doing a cut, like a TV cut of the first movie, but I can't nail down whether they, like in a Unicorn, when they were cutting the OVA episodes, are they adding any new scenes or extra animation? So I don't. And if that is actually happening, is that something that would delay the second movie? Because the director is on record being real, I don't want to say use the word weird, but like being very like blasé about another movie even coming out in the next 3 or 4 years. because it's taking a really long time. I don't know what that's about. It boggles my mind because I think that Sunrise in particular, what the fuck else do they do?
That is a good. What the fuck else does Sunrise do?
All they seem to do is like print money and then like build giant Gundam statues. But when it comes to just making the content, like the shows, the movies, they give you like one original mecha show every 3 or 4 years, and then like a Gundam anniversary project, every couple of years, and then that seems like that's it. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like, no offense, but like an American studio with the amount of money and the power of the IP that Sunrise has would be in like full churn mode, like every year. And I feel like these motherfuckers, they don't care half the time, or like it's just taking forever.
Let me see, 2020s. What do they have? Oh, that's what they're doing. I'm so sorry. They're doing Love Live.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes. They're doing Love Live. That's that. And I'm so sorry, but I have to say it's extremely successful. Like I said, insanely.
I'm in hell, so I'm gonna just have to live here.
Yeah. I
kill
completely
me, please.
forgot. I completely fucking forgot.
Just fucking kill me. So yeah. But listen, I'll take what I get. I think my favorite part of the Hathaway's Flash movie definitely has to be the opening scene on the shuttle. There's so much like amazing camera work and the great music and like themes. The character designs are slick. The conversations are in some ways philosophical and playful. In other ways, they tell you so much. Like when you're watching it for the first time, if you don't really know anything about who these people are, you learn so much through subtlety. Like it's direct. It's just very well directed top to bottom. The violence is like sudden and realistic and tense. It's just really good. Really, really good. I want this level of production with a 1 Year War movie or OVA series. Please, God, do this for me.
I didn't know Sunrise did the Yashahime Inuyasha stuff too. Oh. Interesting.
Everybody eating but me.
Yeah, I mean, Witch from Mercury did it. They did it. It was good.
Sure, I'm just saying, everybody eating but me.
But listen, they're gonna pay attention to the cash cow, because if there's one thing, I mean, the Gunpla are definitely like money, but them niggas are selling out stadiums, merchandise, stadium for those idols. Like they're not failing. Like it's free money at this point. It's so popular. I didn't realize that Sunrise was doing fucking Love Live. Oh my god. Well, that explains why it took so fucking long for us to get Witch from Mercury. Shit. Because between Iron Blooded Orphans and Witch from Mercury, I think we've had 3 new groups of Love Live girls.
It's fucking insane.
But
I'm just mad that Shuko Barase had like the audacity to go on an interview and be like, "Listen, this movie did fantastic, everything we wanted. We ain't gonna be able to release another one for years." I'm like, "Well, what? It's a 3-part series of a fucking short story."
Maybe they went through hell.
They did. Well, allegedly there was a ton of production challenges.
Ah.
Yeah.
I would say give it to Mappa, but that's their baby, so no. And also Mappa's overworked like a motherfucker.
But again,
I'd like to see a Gundam in Studio Bones style. I think that'd look nice. Or Trigger.
I would agree with you. And Bones has a history with Mecha going back. They have whatchamacallit,
the Hero Man.
Yeah.
They did Oh my god, fuck. It was the one, I watched that one all the way through and was like, this was useless until the final episode. Fuck. It was the one where it was like the interplanetary, the aliens were invading and all their
was it
had...
something Earth? What was
Earthman.
It called? Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
Earthman.
one. I mean, for me, the one I always go back to is Ra Cephod.
I still haven't watched that. Oh shit. Okay.
That's a fucking watch.
If I can watch Romantic Killer in a day, I can watch Ra Cephod.
Ra Cephod is a fucking watch. And again, I think we talked about this before, but like, as somebody who has a much greater appreciation for music and music theory and like formally like the classics that you have to learn when you go to school for it, that shit is all over Ra Cephod. Like, I don't think you're a pianist, but like...
Speaking of, did you see the trailer for the Gridman movie?
Oh, yeah.
That shit looks... I thought it was just going to be a compilation film. That's like original. Like, them niggas are coming together.
Yes.
It looks so good. And apparently it's ending the, like, that version of the universe or something. I don't know. It looked really good. So now I got to watch Dynazenon because I only finished SSS regular Gridman Trigger, not Dynazenon.
Dynazenon's ending is actually really like, it's trippy. It's fun though.
Okay. Because I mean, it's not like someone's getting sliced the fuck up in the original Gridman with a box cutter.
Shit's crazy.
But yeah, I would like to see, someone else take a hack at Gundam. Like a main
or for them to, all right, this is not going to happen because this is not how shit works in Japan. But
of course.
I want to see a roadmap. That's all. If you told me that there's like a 10-year plan for Gundam development the way Western studios have dealt with a lot of these shared universe projects. Like, I'm talking about Disney is the industry leader in this. So learn from them and be like, look, we don't have billions to put into this, but here's our plan for the next 5 years. This is what you're going to get, right? And this is what we're working on, and commit to that shit. I would shut the fuck up. I would totally shut the fuck up.
I just saw it on their wiki right now. They did animation for Zone of the Enders. Give us a Zone of the Enders.
Oh, that makes sense.
Anime,
yeah,
bitch.
That does. For the second one?
For the first one.
For the first one, okay.
Oh, wait. Maybe I think it's for the HD. Is this for the HD?
The HD release, the double collection that had
the
both
HD
games
collection,
on it?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking, but I thought they also did the anime cutscenes in the second Zone of Enders.
I feel like they did too. I feel like it must have been both of them.
Because I remember what they look like. It's engraved in my soul.
They're on here.
That's a very Bones looking.
Oh wait, no, Zone of Enders, the Fist of Mars. What the fuck is that? Okay, I did not know that was on Game Boy Advance. Interesting. I don't see them on
I'm
here.
trying to think who did the cutscenes in Second Runner.
I don't see this on here for them. Yeah.
I know. Well, no. But I swear to God that Murata was also involved in that. Because he knows Hideo Kojima. Murata's the same guy who did the Hathaway's Flash. I swear, I'm pretty sure he was involved in that. I'm pretty sure. Whether or not it was through Bones or not at the time. Because I don't even know if they exist. Yeah, they existed at the time. I don't remember. But, yeah, I will look into that. Because I'm actually fascinated. Because Zone of Enders 2 lives rent-free in my soul and will probably live there, till the end of time.
I was honestly shocked when they announced it. Because I was like, I loved the first game, but I didn't know, I was the nigga telling people to play it. No one else was playing that shit. And then the second one came, and I was like, holy shit. Wow. Another one? And then that was the end.
Right.
But it was fun as fuck. It was so fun. That's something that they should revive. I feel like we've talked about this so many times.
We always come back to the same place. But that's also fine. No, it's you know, speaking of which, I know it's a little off the beaten path, but you know what I'm surprised by? That we have never gotten, like, the opportunity or the offer of anybody doing a Metal Gear Solid movie or TV show. It feels
I don't know
like
much
something
about that universe because I never played them because I hate
it just feels like something that, especially for an anime adaptation, like that one. I know Kojima is incredibly hands-on, or at least historically, incredibly hands-on with that franchise, and it's owned by Konami, right?
Yeah, because he can't do anything with it anymore, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, because it stretches over so many eras, you could always, like, there's no point where if they were to announce today that they're doing, like, the Metal Gear Solid, 5-movie, whatever, you could adapt any of them, especially, like, Snake Eater. It'd be such a great, like, show or movie. But that's just, like, my bias. It would, like, a cool 70s period piece that's, like, a throwback to the Rambo movies, but it's got all this, like, political and philosophical shit layered on, and crazy enemies, and yeah, whatever.
I wouldn't know anything about that because I never played any of the Metal Gear Solids except for the demo for Metal Gear Rising.
Oh wow!
It's like the hack and slash.
Revengeance is the shit, though.
Yeah, no, it was super flashy and fun. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But also, I was like, oh, I don't think I should play this because I have no idea who this nigga is. I won't know anything what's going on.
You should watch the movie compilations of the Metal Gear games where they just cut all of the monotonous gameplay and they give you like all the cutscenes, everything else cut together like a film. They've got those on YouTube. It's good.
Is that so? I don't need to like play the game to like get the full story.
No.
Okay. Well, then maybe I'll try that because like I mean, you know, they added Snake and Smash and shit, and I'm like, damn, this nigga in Smash. Like, should I really go like look at this and like see what's going on over here?
Just watch them like for like I did that with Dead Space because there was no way in hell I was playing through all those games, and especially for like Dead Space 2, the movie cut version of it made me really appreciate the universe that they had put together.
Is that like space horror game?
Yeah, that's the one where you play like an engineer who like makes all the tools and
absolutely fucking not. I will not play that. But I didn't know they did. Okay, I mean,
I'm this close to doing it with Atomic Hearts, even though like I actually want to play that game.
Oh, I've heard mixed reviews about that one. That's like the new shooter thing that came out, first person shooter. Okay, yeah,
I'm close. We'll see.
All right. Well, news-wise, do I even have anything news-wise? I don't think I have anything news-wise. There are a lot of trailers dropping for the April premieres, which, I mean, as you all know, we will be going through that. When it is almost it's not all the time. A week or 2, 3 weeks or so, we'll be going through that. Yeah, there's not really anything that I've like noticed or picked up on, or there's anything that I feel like I have the wherewithal to report on based off of my interest into those particular genres of anime.
It's not much. I'm just waiting on Hell's Paradise. So just get out of my way. That's all I've
seen some people like reading it on my Twitter feed and they're like posting panels and I'm like, don't make me block you. Please don't make me block you. Like, we're so close. We're so close.
Again, I do suggest folks read it, or at least read the first bits to get a feeling for the art that's being translated on screen. Because as a manga reader, I'm actually very impressed that they've captured the feeling, the like haunting, grotesque, feeling of the island in the artwork. Mm-hmm. But nothing compares to that. There's a panel that's, I think, within maybe the second or third chapter when they get to the island, and I'm not using the word they loosely because they, people who don't know, and that you finally see what the fuck is there, and it's to me as evocative a panel as some of the other iconic stuff like the Titan over the wall for Attack on Titan.
Okay,
and some other there's. And you see exactly where the author is cribbing their visual notes from, but also what their twist on it is. This very like Buddhist inspired artwork, but twisted in a way that's both like overflowingly alive, but also deadly and awful. I would just say read if you not you have to go and read the whole manga, but like maybe like the first 5 chapters or 10 chapters, which will cover the first 3 episodes, I'm assuming, of the anime, to give you a taste. If you're not on board with what they're selling over there, that'll put you on. And yeah, so I'm just super excited. I'm waiting. It's got like now that the Eminence and Shadow's over, I'm just holding on for the rest of the season.
And then you will get the Hell's Paradise.
Yeah. And other than that, yeah, I don't really have no real news that piqued me.
I have like multiple recommendations to pick from this week, but I'm just gonna go ahead and pick the one that should be the most obvious. I'm gonna recommend Octopath Traveler 2 because it's all I've been playing. And it's really how do I put it? Like, if you like the first one, you're gonna love the second one. There we go. Music is really fucking good. Stories are much better laid out. Even one of them is like a detective, like a pseudo detective hidden in like another role. And yeah, it looks gorgeous. I can't vouch for the Switch version because I'm playing it on PC, but it looks fucking gorgeous. I can imagine it would look really good on PS5 also. But the 2D HD graphics look gorgeous. The music is great. I like how I like the map. It's pretty easy to get around. And especially some of the stories, like especially Oswald's like start and things like that. Some of the stories, I went in and I was like, I don't really like this fucking character, but whatever, let's do this story. And by the end of it, I was like, damn, I actually need to know what the fuck's gonna go on. Like, let's get this story moving. Like, goddamn. The party system, a lot of the systems are pretty much the same as the first one. They're just like quality of life improvements. But overall, yeah, if you like the first one, get the second one. It's good.
Well, I'll be buying it, no question.
The only thing is Tressa's not there to say thank you after taking money from people. That's the only thing. So,
well, there you go.
But yeah.
Okay. Do you want to get to the question? Because I think I've got a good one for this week.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, shout out to a frequent guest, or at least a guest that we've had a couple of times, Moody Senpai, for inspiring this question. So, last week we talked about Ensemble Cast. This week we're talking about gateway drugs. So, what I'm referring to is not the first anime you saw, but the anime that got you hooked on anime in general. So,
oh shit.
So this is digging in the crates a little bit. And it could be something modern, because not everybody's been watching since the dawn of time, like myself, and I know Jordan has been a fan for a really long time.
I feel like I've told this story. Well, you're saying the one that got you hooked, not
the first one you saw,
okay.
but the show that really turned you onto the genre itself. That you were like, oh, I need more stuff. What else can I watch? What else is like this? So we've had some guests on before who've talked about their kind of way into the being a fan, but particularly what series was it, or what series plural was it? Because I know that, you know, if you're of a certain age, your introduction may have been an entire block of shows rather than just one. So yeah. What actually hooked you in and got you thinking, I need more of this weird cartoon stuff in my life? And we'll talk a little bit about what it was for us. And if Jordan, if it's repeating a story, then good, because it'll remind.
I'm actually like ravaging my mind, because I feel like I've talked about a whole bunch about like the stuff that like I liked and that I was interested in, but if I'm thinking about the thing that made me go out and seek some, well, actually, you know what? It was 2 very different times. There was the Toonami era, and then there was the era when the internet and the sites were up, and it was more accessible to actually go find and get. At least for me, being younger and not, you know, like knowing where to go and, you know, having other people into anime that much as me. So I think I would answer that with like 2 specific moments, as opposed to just like. That's
totally fine. I think on this podcast, I've talked about sort of what got me in, but mostly from the point of view what kind of was the first thing. But we're talking about the moment you decided to go ham, where you were like, okay, this is my stuff. Okay.
Oh, well, it's so obvious. I know what it is, and it's so generic, but I don't give a fuck. Like,
generic is fine.
It is what it is.
Generic
it is what it is. Fine. We all have fallen prey. It doesn't matter.
It don't.
Yeah. Okay, well then, yeah, that's the question for next week then. So, yeah, y'all go Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Y'all are watching the TikToks. Y'all just start commenting. I see the views. But, yeah, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can put it in the comments here on YouTube. One of you guys commented on YouTube and then you deleted it when I came to, like, compile the question. So don't delete your comment, like, as long as you're not, like, calling us, like, Negras, like, I mean, or any other, like, rude things, then yeah, like, whatever, it's fine. But you're entitled to your opinion. But yeah, hit us up, let us know on those platforms, and then as I see the comments throughout the week, I'll be tallying them, and then we will go through your comments like we did at the beginning of this episode, and yeah, we'll talk it up. But yeah, is that all for this week?
Seems like it.
Okay, well then, yeah, as I said, go and follow us, anime_savants on Twitter, and then everywhere else you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and your podcast platform of choice as just regular Anime Savants.
Yep, you can hit me up on Twitter, @NeuralHandshake. We just doing it big every day. That's it.
Yes, indeed. We will catch y'all next week. Bye.
Peace out.